Welcome back to Neon Trash, all you cyberpunks and retro nerds out there. I'm your host, Tommy the Hammer. Tonight we've got Asian on the menu, more specifically, the South Korean supernatural horror movie called Phone. This is one of those early 2000 horror flicks from back in the day when movies like The Ring and The Grudge were immensely popular. Phone here I've actually never seen before, but it's definitely been on my radar, and I'm thrilled to be checking it out tonight. So you guys know this part of the routine. Check out the trailer, peep that shit when we get back. Y'all motherfuckers are gonna know my opinion on Phone.
미쳤어요. 아주 끔찍하게.
Okay guys, I just got done watching the South Korean horror movie Phone, and I feel like this is something that needs to be discussed before we move on to the actual movie review itself. In terms of Asian supernatural horror, especially movies from the early 2000s, this may be something that I've discussed on the channel before, probably. I feel like for Asian culture, you know, the ghosts with like the long black hair is their, you know, ghost with the white sheet. I really can't get down on movies that, you know, kind of follow those tropes. And let's face it, in the early 2000s, a lot of those horror movies like, you know, Ring-U and Ju-on, you know, they really reveled in this kind of creeping sensing of dread. You would watch those movies and you were scared. You didn't really know why. And in my, you know, personal opinion, I feel like a lot of the Asian actors in those movies, they exhibited fear perfectly in such a way to where the viewer would get goosebumps. You know, you watch a movie like The Grudge, and I'm talking about the original movie The Grudge, and yeah, sure, maybe the plot isn't all that intricate, but there's definitely some imagery in that movie where it leaves its lasting impression. So with that being said, the movie Phone definitely follows that diagram of the early 2000s Asian horror scene for at least the first 40 minutes. And I actually liked that. I thought it was definitely popcorny fun. There was jump scares. There was a lot of good, you know, ghost sequences. There was creepy moments. There's this one moment with a ghost sitting on a bed with exceptionally nightmarishly long hair kind of draped across the whole entire bedroom. And I thought it was creepy, really good. But after that initial setup, after the 40 minutes of the movie, the story kind of transcends into the dramatic side of things. And I feel like this is where the movie actually really flourishes. At first I wasn't crazy with the shift in tone. I was saying to myself, you know, man, I actually like this whole kind of pulpy, maybe cliched, scary element to the beginning of the film, and I'm not really digging this whole dramatic element. Well, after a while, the dramatic element really settled in. It really kind of dug its talons in for the viewer, and by the end of the film, I was sold. I was sold on the whole of the movie Phone. I feel like the first half is a lot of fun, and the middle to the second half is very sad and dramatic, and I appreciated both elements to this movie. But the question remains, is this better than The Ring or The Grudge? I don't know. Those movies are notorious. They have their footprint you know, pretty much solidified in cinematic history. So when people talk about Asian horror, they always think about Ringu and Ju-on. But if you're like me and you've seen those movies and, you know, they've been played on TV, they've been played on the, you know, Netflix and all the other movie apps countless times, you're going to want to watch something that's a little bit off the beaten trail, something slightly different and coming at things from a completely and totally different angle. I feel like the movie Phone does that. Not only does it prey on the fears of, you know, ghosts and revenge and the sins of the characters' pasts in this movie, but it also touches on, you know, people's fears for technology, in this case, cell phones. And it was really cool watching this movie, looking at all the out-of-date flip phones, and it just made you realize, you're like, my God, we have come so far, we have advanced immensely in terms of cell phones. But, you know, back in the day, that was the pinnacle of technology. It ain't perfect, and if you think that whole early 2000s supernatural Asian horror scene is played out, well then this right here is gonna do nothing to change your mind. But if you like that scene, you appreciate it, and you understand its significance in the world of horror and pop culture history, well then fuck yeah, check it out. So out of 10 stars, I think I'd give the movie Phone a solid 6.5 out of 10.